Endless Hustle is presented by Eat Clean Bro, a convenient solution to bring you the highest quality chef-prepared meals delivered right to your door. Eat Clean Bro is the contract-free solution for your meal prep needs. Made with all-natural ingredients and next-day delivery, every meal feels like you have someone cooking for you right at home. All right, we're going to have a great day on the Endless Hustle today as I'm joined by, shall I say, America's favorite parents at this point, because holy cow, you guys are celebrities in your own right. Your daughters, Marc and Heidi D'Amelio, have become monster stars. But with your social media following, I feel like you're celebrities in your own right. So congratulations on all the success. You've got a new Hulu show on the way. You've built this incredible brand. Let's talk all about it. So let's start with, how crazy is this all at this point?
I feel like things are opening up now, so now we're starting to feel it a little bit more. I mean, we were just like everyone else inside of our house, and obviously we see the numbers on our phones, but it doesn't feel real until you're out, and then, you know, obviously the girls get people that recognize them, but for us, you good?
We have a lot of dogs here.
I literally, it sounded like a bomb went off. I was ready to call 911 and make sure you guys are okay.
We're good. And so when they are recognizing us, like, and sometimes we'll get, you're Dixie and Charli's parents, right? Or Mr. and Mrs. D'Amelio, or Heidi and Marc. And I'm like, how do these people know us? It doesn't feel real to know that people actually know us, or then they know our dogs. They're, oh, that time when Rebel and Callie did this. And it's just like wild to think that people that we don't even know just know like so much about our lives. But it's not a negative. It's, everyone's been super positive when we're out and about and meeting them. So that's been the best part, is like meeting these people.
So Marc, I'm originally from Philadelphia, and you've obviously had a very significant hand in rebuilding Mitchell and Ness and obviously turning it into what it is. And Mitchell and Ness is, I mean, I remember when it was building its name in Philadelphia, but when people learn about your entrepreneurial background and the businesses that you were able to build, is it cool to be able to spread that story as a serial entrepreneur?
Yes, it is. And it's been, I think that's one of the things that, being an entrepreneur, we approach this whole thing not as a money-making endeavor, but more as a brand and things you have to do around when you build a brand. And yeah, shout out to Philadelphia. As a kid, I grew up in Connecticut, right outside New York. I was born in New York, and I didn't start experiencing Philadelphia until about 12 years ago when I started working with Mitchell and Ness. And I love the city. I love the people. I love the teams. So it's a great city.
Yeah, it's a great town, man. I've been in New York for a decade, but it is a great town. So where did this all begin? So I'm going to turn back the clock. When do you guys start realizing that your daughters have this monster following that is essentially forming this audience, and then obviously now begins to percolate to you guys? When does it become real for you? When are you like, holy cow, we have a business here that's being built?
Early on, we were both into social media just from business, or we weren't the type of parents that shied away from it. I have friends that you can't find anything about them on any platform. Sometimes you'll find a picture of them because their wife's cousin posted, and you'll be like, I saw you on the internet. And they're like, no. So we were into it. The girls were into it. We got them phones and Mac computers pretty early. But then we watched Vine also. So when Charli started first getting followers, it was like, that's cute. And we know population, so 10,000 was a lot. And then when she had 100,000, I was like, well, that's Michigan Stadium. That's a football stadium right there. That's a lot of people. But we still didn't know where it was going. And I had some friends I had spoken with, and they're like, look, even if you get millions of followers, it doesn't mean that that's going to translate into commerce. So we knew that we kept our eye on it. The initial stuff was just having them recognized out in outside of our town because everybody's popular in their hometown. But when we traveled outside of Norwalk and the girls started to get noticed, that was interesting. And I think when we started coming to LA just for the girls to do content with other creators, we would take some meetings, and the meetings we're meeting, whether it's Disney, executives at Disney, and I'm like, or record executives, like the president of big record companies. I'm like, wait, why do they want to meet with us? And then we knew that it was new, but that's when, so it's probably the end of, it started summer 2019, but things didn't pick up till the end of 2019. And then the beginning of 2020, we signed with UTA, and they let us know, actually, they're the ones that kind of said, this is a business. And we're like, okay, let's go.
And they didn't just look at the girls together or individually, they looked at the family and could see that in itself could be something on a bigger scale.
So once that starts happening, now you've got representation. The daughters have millions upon millions of followers. What's the game plan from there? How do you start formulating what happens next?
I think we use a game plan similar to what doctors use, where they say, do no harm. So we knew we wanted to move forward with this. And we had little family meetings and said, is everybody cool with this? This is going to change our lives. But then we all agreed that we were in a good situation before this. So how do we make sure that Hollywood, fame, notoriety, all those things that come along with it don't swallow us up and turn this family upside down? So we always keep that in every decision we make. We constantly do checkups on each other. Like, are we happier today than we were when we were living in Connecticut when no one knew who we were? And so that's kind of the game plan.
Then you guys start obviously building the following. Like, Marc, your social media alone, I'm like, look, I was looking at it, it's like 2 million on Instagram, 9 million on TikTok, and growing. You guys are actually content creators now. So when does that click for you? When do you start realizing, wow, we're actually mini brands ourselves here?
There's two parts to that. First of all, it was an accident. I noticed that there was a lot of young teenagers that were looking at the girls, and I kind of wanted to insert myself as a dad and be like, hey guys, I'm seeing what you're seeing. So and it just was we were kind of doing it more to track it. And then we started to explode, obviously, because of the girls. But we are trying to find our own lane. The one thing that Heidi and I really don't want to do is be the parents that are trying to get the spotlight, overshadow their kids. But we understand that this is an amazing opportunity for all of us to do, whether it's charitable work, passion project, whatever you're doing, you're following, and the amount of people that follow you is currency today, and that you take those followers and do anything all for good. So that's kind of where we are. So we enjoy it, but we definitely don't want to be. You'll see, like, I don't do a lot of. I don't do any dance trends or anything like that. I'm still trying to find my lane, because I want to take advantage of the platform to do good, but I also don't want to do anything that puts my daughters in a bad light, or people are like, dude, your dad's creepy. What is he doing? Get him out of here. So
what do your friends say? Because here you are, this successful businessman, successful entrepreneur. You're at dinner somewhere in Norwalk with like your friends. And meanwhile, I'm guessing people are either coming up to you and you're like famous at this point. How do you reconcile that type of situation and remain normal in a situation like that?
I think, oddly enough, when you go through this, we've met a lot of really great people out in LA, but you gravitate towards the people who knew you prior, because that even my mom and sister, like, they're really love what's happening to us and appreciate what's happening to us, but it's still my mom and my sister. So you can always go back to them. Same with Heidi's family, same with our friends back home. We just went back home and did like just a little event at a bowling alley with all of our friends, and it's wild. My friends will send me stuff and they're like, dude, do you believe this is happening to you guys? And I'm like, no, but they're the people that have really helped us navigate through this, because they know us in some cases, I have friends that I've known for 40 years. So since I've been in middle school.
So I want to live vicariously through you guys for a minute, because you were at Michael Rubin's white party in the Hamptons, which legit looked like the greatest party ever thrown. It makes like The Great Gatsby look like playtime. What was that like? I mean, Jay-Z's there, the baby, every celebrity on the planet's flying in, A-Rod's helicoptering in. What was that actually like?
First of all, you're probably one of the most beautiful settings you could ever imagine. Just that alone. And oddly enough, it was, we have our family and friends that we are all kind of travel together. Our kids, they love us. We all work together a lot, but they don't necessarily want to hang with us all the time. So we always kind of incorporate their friends, and it's a nice little group that we travel with. And so we're kind of just like, in the middle of all this, they're like together, like taking selfies and like, getting some content for their Instagram, just themselves. Like they're not the kind of kids that would go up and say, hey, can I get a picture with you, Jay-Z? Like they're just not like that, because they're funny. They're very much want to form relationships and friendships before they bring it to that. And they've met tons of people that people don't even know about, because they don't just post about it. They're deeper than that. And they love just getting to know people. So, as people start arriving, I mean, it's beautiful. It's everything you can imagine and more. The food and just like the background, and it's on the water and all this, and people start arriving, and we're kind of just like, everyone felt the same. I feel like it, because of everybody's like out and about again, and I feel like everybody was just so happy to be there, no matter who you were talking to. There's athletes and obviously musicians and all these people. Everybody was just so happy to be there. It was such a nice vibe. And it was a lot going on. There was dinner and there was this and that. And then, the fun part of it was seeing some of these major stars come up to the girls, and I'm going to FaceTime my kids with you. And our kids are looking at them like, they're talking to me, like, and their kids don't care about them, who my kids are looking at like major star. They are just enamored with the fact that their dad or their mom is with Dixie and Charli. And that is just surreal. It's like, what is happening in our life? And it's just like, I don't know, like it brings joy to the parent to be able to see their kids so excited. And obviously our kids are over the moon to be able to have those interactions and meet their kids. And it just kind of makes these bonds and relationships happen, like, when does that ever happen? It's just wild. It's absolutely
it's the lottery ticket. I mean, it really is. It's that whole, I'm the one in a billion who gets to experience this type of lottery ticket.
Yeah.
And I will say that it was as beautiful as the house was and all the celebrities that were there. Michael Rubin, who I've become really good friends with, kind of creates this opulent event, but it still feels so homey. And you have, Heidi mentioned, but like John Bon Jovi, Robert Kraft, the mix of people that were there, the baby, all there. But his personality creates this almost like, although he's put the whole thing together, he makes you feel so comfortable. He just grabs you. Come on, Mark, let's take a picture. And
I feel like makes everyone feel like they're the biggest star in the place, but nobody was even looking for that. Everybody was literally so happy just to be there and be out. And it wasn't easy to get to with where the location was and all of that. So it was just, Yeah, it was so fun. Definitely probably the best party I've ever been to.
Hands down, best party I've been to.
Mike is such a legend. I've known him from Philly, and I remember we're same age and similar age. And I remember when he was first starting out, we have a common group of friends, and to see his rise. I remember when I was 20 years old, to see his rise and him becoming one of the great moguls of America and actually of the world at this point. And now what he's giving back with Reform Alliance is just, I'm like, man, I knew that dude back when. It's crazy.
And the beauty in the relationship we have with him is the way, well, you guys are in similar business and you've had, although you didn't know each other, but you had a lot of similar friends.
Yes.
In February of 2020, we were invited to NBA All-Star Game. He was obviously there with his daughter, who's a teenager, and all she wanted, everybody was there, and all she wanted to do was meet Dixie and Charli. So Michael made that happen, and we all came together, and it was just the most easy friendship. So obviously, Marc and I are friends with Michael and Camille, but the kids are friends. And it's like anytime when you have that happen where the kids are having fun, the parents are having fun, like it's a beautiful thing. And so anytime we can come together, we do, because obviously we don't live near each other, but it's really cool and the kids love each other.
Here's what I love about you guys and your family. We're in a world now where everyone's chasing fame. This is the world we live in. You and your family and your daughters have achieved a level of fame that is really unprecedented to a certain degree. And yet you feel still like a normal family. It's obvious that you've done a great job parenting. Both your daughters are handling fame beautifully, and that's awesome. And now you're going to have this TV show, this docuseries with Hulu. And my gut tells me that it's going to be a great example of here's essentially what it's like to be super famous, to have a brand, to essentially have a mini corporation, but kind of navigate it in a cool way. Is that am I targeting what you guys are hoping to put on there with that show?
I think what I said earlier is we kind of decided to go forward with this thing as a family. And what we quickly realized was that people have a preconceived notion of you, when they see a 15-second video. So what I started to do is I created a family channel on TikTok, which kind of gave some depth to who we are. Like, us at a Yankee game when the kids were really young, and I found that kind of made people realize that we're not just this famous family that came out of nowhere. We have a history, and then when the idea of doing the show came out, I'm like, well, that's just something we can add on, and hopefully people will get to see what we're going through, how incredible it is, but some of the struggles that we have being in the public eye, especially Dixie and Charli. So I think it's going to be I think you're going to get a good picture of what it's like, and not be careful what you wish for, but you'll get to see everyone who's out there that wants to be famous or wants to go viral. This is what it's like, and you see all the cool things that happen, but also some of the pitfalls that go along with it. And ultimately, what we wanted to do is have people get to know us for who we are, and at that point, if they love us, they love us. If they don't like us, they don't like us. But at least we've been able to tell the story on who we are.
How are you, Marc, especially on the entrepreneurial side, because this is essentially its own company now? How are you able to balance your professional life and what you do for real versus the brand and the company you're building as the D'Amelios?
Yeah, I mean, we've been able to balance out my business. We're representing certain clothing brands and doing that. Because of COVID, there was no one going into New York City, so I shut my showroom down. A lot of things on my day-to-day business is done through Zoom. Mitchell & Ness actually has an office out here in California where the CEO is, so I get down there as much as I can. But all those experiences that I've gone through over the last 30 years of my career have all helped some of these new ventures we're going in, from brand deals to now equity deals where we're part of starting companies, whether it's, Abercrombie and Fitch and the girls doing social tourists, Hollister and social tourists. That's been a big one, which is kind of in my, not kind of, is in my wheelhouse, and it's been fun watching the girls do basically what I have been doing in my career. They're doing now too.
So moving forward, because essentially you guys are part of a small group that is creating a new playbook for success, social media success. How do you envision that playbook evolving? What happens next? Obviously, we have the TV show. You have these brand partnerships. I'm sure there's a million other deals out there that you're working on. But where do you see this all moving to? What's the next steps of building and evolving this?
I think you're going to see a lot of people, no matter what they're doing, whether they're a plumber, a doctor, not depending on big businesses and doing more things entrepreneurial. Like that's where the barrier of entry isn't as big, isn't as high as it used to be. When I started my clothing brand back in 2000, I had to compete with, if I wanted to advertise in Details Magazine or GQ, I had to go and pay the same rate as Ralph Lauren. And you had these giants competing with entrepreneurs, which you can never, one out of a million would be able to get through. Now, if you have a good product, a good service, a good viewpoint, social media levels the playing field. So I think you're going to see a lot more entrepreneurship, a lot more people taking a business that traditionally you wouldn't think would be on social media and use that. And a lot of people are going to become their own boss. And that's what I'm seeing now.
So you and the daughters have gotten to experience some of the most insane things imaginable. Obviously, we touched on Rubin's party. You've done Fallon. I mean, the stuff you've done is, off the charts. For both of you, what's the one that is the mind-blowing experience where you kind of just sat there and reflected and thought, how is this happening to me?
I think individually there's stuff that happened to Charli, but when there's all these things that we grew up watching. So and I'll give you one in particular, but like Family Feud was one that was like a celebrity Family Feud. So not only if someone said to me, hey, do you think someday in your life you'll be on Family Feud? I'm like, I love The Price is Right, I love Family Feud. Maybe one day we'll, but to be on Celebrity Family Feud what was pretty wild. But then the MTV Movie Awards, the Unscripted Movie Awards, where we walked out as a family and there were all these people that we knew in the audience and we're talking about this show. Those are those times that I just pinch myself and I'm like, wait, what's going on? How is this happening?
That's so cool.
I think for me, it was, this was kind of early on. This was probably beginning of December 2019. So this is the very beginning of the craziness, but we went to Jingle Ball in New York City and I had never been. I'd always wanted to go and take the kids. It was just like hard to get tickets and I don't know, it just never happened. And so the girls and us got invited and there was this like lounge area in the back that they had us kind of in between. There was like a red carpet. That was their first red carpet. There was these cute little like holiday scene set up and they would go and have people who came through to make content and we would be in this back lounge and there was executives coming in with their kids and they're like, I don't know why, but my kid said I need to meet your kids and I don't know what to do with them, but we should know each other. And we got so many business cards that night, but then we go out and the show is starting and they have these major stars, so many different artists performing that night. And there's like a whole front section is looking up at the girls and waving. And then there's a line coming from down and up of people wanting to take pictures with them. And that for me, I was like, what this is, it was just the first time. So I think it sticks with me, but it was just like, wow, that was huge.
And the guy who we met, Darren Pfeiffer, who's in charge of music at Madison Square Garden, he was like, I've never seen that. He goes, the people, the executives, the kids of the executives backstage, it's the most jaded crowd because they've seen everyone, and I've never seen that much craziness. And that was really funny. And that was the first time we started to think about security because they had one security guy there, and then they had to call a couple more and it's like there's ultra famous people on stage performing, and we have a line performing from the nosebleed section down, and all of a sudden I think the security guy was like, we're going to need some backup here. So it was funny.
What do you think has been, as you again navigate this uncharted territory, what has been the one learning, the biggest learning that you've really experienced so far as you've gone through this?
I think for me, it's been, you have to be comfortable in your own skin. You have to know that we're all imperfect people, and you're doing the best you can, and you can't let the comments and the things dictate to you, change your view of yourself. You know, you could use it, you could take, there's constructive criticism that I think we could all use and take and try to be better. But I think you just have to kind of, as you're going through this process, there's going to be a lot of people that come at you for a lot of different reasons, and you just gotta not listen to all the noise and be comfortable in your own skin and try to be the best human being you could be.
Do the girls have a comprehension of what's happening? I mean, a true comprehension of they like we're similar age range, so we've lived life. They're kids. This isn't like happening to everybody. They can't grasp it yet, can they?
No. I mean, they know they're good at math. They know numbers. They same thing. Like they know a stadium is 80,000 people. They know that kind of stuff. But I don't think they don't have the perspective that we have. That we've seen child stars come and go. We've seen the pitfalls of certain child stars, and we also, as parents, we want to protect them today, but we also want to protect their future. And I say all the time, I'm not only worried that I have to talk with Dixie and Charli today, Heidi and I are going to have a conversation with them 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and we're going to be judged on how we help navigate them through this whole thing. So I take that real seriously. So we're kind of the ones that understand just how incredible and rare this opportunity is. So we're very cautious on not making it last forever, because there's money. I mean, this will afford them the ability to do anything they want to do. Again, whether it's helping with social issues, or whether they want to become doctors or whatever CEOs, marketing executives, whatever they want to do. So we try our best with the limited knowledge we have, because no one's gone through this, to help them navigate.
I was going to actually ask you that. Can they have normal lives after this? Like, can they go to USC or NYU, or this is like they're now at a level of fame? And listen, fame can be fleeting too. You can be famous today and nobody tomorrow. I mean, that's Hollywood, right? But I wonder, and I guess you guys are going to end up being the example. Can you have a normal life after this, and how do you navigate it to a certain degree at a certain age?
Yeah, I think you can. I think you got to be savvy on, your choices and what you want to do. And, it takes a little bit more time to do anything, because, people get excited when they take pictures. So like just that little piece of it. But yeah, absolutely. I think they can do anything they want to do, just like anyone else.
And I think we try to make things, like we were out in a restaurant the other day, and I think we get in this headspace where, well, let's get the car to pull up and we'll jump in the car. And I was like, dude, we lived in the city. Let's walk. And we walked, and we had a couple people follow us, and then we took some pictures and they left. The next thing we walked all the way back to the house. And we want to be careful to make sure that the kids are protected, but we also push to try to have as much of a normal life. And I think sometimes when you get this notoriety or this fame, people start to act in a certain way. And I want to not act that way for as long as possible, as long as we're safe.
That reminds me. So I had Matthew McConaughey on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he told a great story about how overnight he essentially became Matthew McConaughey, because after he had his big break, and what was A Time to Kill ended up coming out, and he became, Matthew McConaughey leading man. he pretty much was like, the ticket was punched. I'm famous. That Monday, the movie's a hit. People now know me. There's never any going back. But what was amazing about him is he's really retained his authenticity through the process. And I think that's why people love him so much. And he's become such a beloved American icon because he is he's McConaughey. He's the same cool dude he was before fame. And it's like, and, it seems like you guys are just doing an incredible job navigating the same way. People love your family. And I think you are writing a new playbook for what the next level of stardom is going to look like for a new generation. And it seems like you're doing a really great job. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So congrats on the new Hulu show. That's going to be awesome. I'm not part of your daughter's generation, but I'm actually super fascinated to see how you and your family go through it. And it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. It's been awesome.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Roger.
you.
So nice to meet you.
Same here. Good luck with everything. Keep crushing it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye.